So while William's team is scrambling in London, Charles is sitting in his study, large room, green silk wallpaper, family portraits on the walls, at a small writing table by the window, watching the rain beat against the glass. On the table is an open leather ledger from 2024 detailing the precise yields of the family's Duché land bank. He dips his fountain pen into a bottle of black ink and starts writing the final adjustments to the inheritance schedule. The clock on the main tower strikes noon. By this point, the courier on the motorcycle has already cleared the boundary gates of the estate, heading south toward a private legal office in Norwich. The document he's carrying will ensure that the institutional decisions made over the past decade can be legally rewritten before the end of the day. Now, the financial records involved here are wild. They list specific offshore holdings that have never been brought into the public domain. We're talking corporate bonds and blue-chip equities purchased during the late 20th century, completely separate from the land-based wealth of the Duke of Lancaster. For 30 years, the internal allocation of these specific funds had been handled by a small trusted committee of trustees meeting twice a year in Edinburgh. That's 3 decades of private wealth management happening entirely outside public view. And now Charles was redirecting it with a few strokes of his pen. William's legal team in London immediately convened an emergency session in the basement offices of the High Court of Justice. They started pulling the historical charters governing the separation of private royal funds from state assets. Their concern was straightforward. If the king chose to divert these offshore accounts away from the primary line of succession, the financial independence of the future monarch would be severely diminished. The tension got even worse when a secondary confirmation came through from a banking contact in Zurich. A transfer of ownership form had been submitted digitally to a private Swiss depository just minutes before the network went dark at Sandringham. The transfer involved a highly valuable cache of historical gold bullion that had been held in trust for the descendants of King George V since 1936. This sudden global movement of wealth pointed to something much bigger than a standard family disagreement over an inheritance. This was a targeted, systematic dismantling of specific institutional reserves. The king was using his unique legal status as a sovereign to bypass the standard asset preservation agreements that had bound the family together for generations. He wasn't just tweaking the will, he was restructuring the entire financial architecture of the monarchy.